She felt like her life was in danger. She was saying that she wasn't going to see her 30th birthday. And so, you know, when you think about it, she was right. Her intuition told her that something was going to happen to her, and it did. Alexis wouldn't stay away from her children. Alexis wouldn't, she has never been away from her children. She has never went one day without calling me.
She called her mother in the middle of the night, her voice trembling. She said someone was following her. She said she feared she wouldn't live to see her 30th birthday. Just days later, her car was found abandoned in the woods, engine cold, doors locked, nearly all her belongings untouched. Nobody, no final message, no confession, just a haunting absence. She was the 29-year-old mother, Alexis Ware. She vanished after a routine drive from a gas station in Anderson County, South Carolina. And now, her family is left in the silence of unanswered questions. Welcome to True Crime 911. Here, we don't just tell stories, we dig for the truth that so many want buried. If you don't hit that subscribe button right now, ask yourself, if someone you love disappeared tomorrow, who would be left to fight for them? If you can't bring yourself to subscribe, at least leave us a comment now and tell us why staying silent feels easier. In the next 20 minutes, we'll retrace Alexis's last known steps. We'll sift through the clues, the leads, the dead ends. We'll meet those who searched for her and those who remain silent. Because behind the roads and the red Honda lies a story of fear, of loss, and of a life cut off too soon. This is the case of Alexis Ware, and this is where her story must be told. Before the headlines, before the searches and the news cameras, Alexis Ware was a young mother with a bright smile and even brighter dreams. She was just 29 years old, raising 2 children in Greenville County, South Carolina. To her family and friends, Alexis was more than just a daughter or a sister. She was the glue. She had a big personality, a big laugh, and a bigger heart. Those who knew her say she wanted more for herself and for her children. She dreamed of moving to Atlanta, where she hoped to open her own boutique. Fashion, beauty, style, those were the worlds she wanted to build her future around. Her social media pages showed a woman who was confident, ambitious, and outgoing. But Alexis wasn't just a dreamer. She was a mother who worked hard to provide for her kids, who balanced ambition with responsibility. To her little boy and her little girl, she was everything. To her mother, Alberta, she was a confidant, a late-night phone call away. And to her brother and sister, she was the sibling who could make them laugh, even in the darkest of times. But life wasn't always as picture-perfect as it looked online. Alexis had her share of struggles. As a single mother, she was constantly pulled between raising her kids, managing relationships, and keeping her personal dreams alive. Still, there was no sign she was planning to leave it all behind. She had plans, she had goals, she had responsibilities she never would have walked away from, which is why in the days before her disappearance, her family noticed something that deeply unsettled them. Alexis began acting differently. She told her loved ones that she felt like someone was following her. She said she was getting strange phone calls, sometimes from blocked numbers, sometimes persistent. And in a moment that would later haunt her family, Alexis told her mother she didn't think she would live to see her 30th birthday. Those are the words no mother ever forgets. And then, on the very night before she disappeared, Alexis's fear became even clearer. She stayed up late with her mom, restless, talking, worrying. Alberta would later say her daughter's mood was unlike anything she'd seen before. It wasn't just stress. It was like Alexis was carrying the weight of a secret she couldn't fully explain. The questions linger. Was Alexis imagining threats that weren't there? Or was someone truly closing in on her? Was Alexis paranoid? Or was someone really hunting her? These stories remind us, safety is never guaranteed. If you think this could never happen to me, that's exactly what Alexis thought too. Don't just scroll past. Subscribe now so you never forget how quickly life can change. And if you refuse, then explain in the comments why staying silent feels easier. Sunday, January 30th, 2022. It would be the last day anyone saw Alexis Ware. That evening, Alexis drove her red Honda to a 7-Eleven gas station in Anderson County. Waiting there was T.J. Patterson, the father of her youngest child. Alexis had the kids with her, and the plan was simple: meet up, hand them over, and follow T.J. back to his mother's house.
She called me. And I put on speakerphone, let my cousin hear how she talking out the side of her head. So she got there, she was like, she said, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm at my aunt's house watching the game." So she was like, "Well, come and meet me on 29 at 7-Eleven where you get the kids." She said, "I'm about to run out of gas. I got like 3 miles left." I said, okay. So as she talking, she like, "TJ, watch out for these cars. Watch out for a white car, gray car, black car." Now, mind me, now I'm like, okay, so I put on speakerphone, let my cousin and everybody hear. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. So my cousin like, "Boy, go get your son, boy." So I was like, "Shit, I say no more." I doubt him up. We left. I pull up at 7-Eleven. You know what I'm saying? She's sitting at the gas pump. I get out, go in the car. Go in the stove. I pump 35 in her gas tank, and I put 20 in mine. I come back out, get my son out the car. You know what I'm saying? She asked me, could Naomi go with me, her daughter? I was like, yeah, she can go. So I was like, she said, okay. She said, "TJ, watch out for this car." She kept pointing at cars, like white car, black car, gray car. She said, "Watch out for these cars." She said, "Matter of fact, don't stop at no red lights." So I'm like, "Man, what you mean?" I said, "Babe, you need help. You need to get some help." So I'm like, she was like, she know, TJ, I'm telling you. She's like, "Give me a hug me." So I hugged her. You know what I'm saying? The hug didn't feel right. Something wasn't right. So I got there and hugged, got in the car, and I pulled off. For y'all, the one that's in Anderson, I turn on Amity Road. As I pass Welfare Church, I barely passed Welfare Church. And she got dang on, she sped around me, bus right going out Anderson Belton Highway. So I just started calling. I'm like, where the hell she going? She supposed to been following me to my mom's house. So she said she was going to her mama's house. So I'm like, damn, I started calling. I called about 3 times. She cut the phone off.
Surveillance footage from that 7-Eleven captured her car pulling in, the exchange happening as planned. Nothing seemed unusual at that moment. To anyone watching, it looked like a routine co-parent handoff, something Alexis and TJ had done many times before. But what happened after that handoff has baffled investigators for more than a year. As the 2 cars left the gas station, Alexis followed behind TJ's vehicle. The destination was just a short drive away, but as they approached the red light, something unexpected happened. Alexis suddenly pressed down on the accelerator. She sped past TJ's car, swerving into the night, her headlights cutting through the darkness. She didn't turn toward the house. She didn't wait for him to catch up. She just disappeared down the road. TJ told investigators he tried to reach her phone, but the calls went unanswered. He drove on to his mother's home with the children, expecting Alexis to eventually show up. But she never did. From that moment on, Alexis Ware was never seen again. February 2nd, 2022, just 2 days after Alexis Ware was last seen, her red Honda was located in McCormick County, South Carolina. The area was remote, heavily wooded, and far from anywhere Alexis was known to visit. The vehicle appeared abandoned. It was locked, the engine cold. Alexis was nowhere in sight. Inside, investigators found nearly everything a person would need if they planned to leave home behind: her purse, her wallet, her driver's license, her cell phone, all left untouched. On the ground, near the car, searchers found one more detail: a hair bonnet, believed to be the same one Alexis had been wearing the night she vanished. To her family, that discovery was chilling. Alexis had told them she was being followed. She had told her mother she feared she wouldn't live to see her 30th birthday. And now the car she had been driving was abandoned in the woods with no sign of her. But this was not the last trace of Alexis Ware's vehicle. Through highway cameras and surveillance footage, investigators discovered that her red Honda had traveled far beyond Anderson County. It was spotted heading into Georgia. Hours later, it was seen again returning back across state lines, into South Carolina. Each sighting added a new layer of confusion. Alexis's family insisted she had no connections in those areas. She didn't have friends there. She didn't have business there. For them, the conclusion was terrifying. If Alexis didn't know anyone out there, then who was behind the wheel of her car? Her mother later described the footage as the most haunting part of the investigation, because it seemed to confirm what everyone feared: someone else may have been in control of Alexis's vehicle. If Alexis wasn't behind the wheel, then who was? The disappearance of Alexis Ware quickly escalated beyond a missing persons case. Local law enforcement launched a massive search effort. Volunteers combed the woods, helicopters hovered overhead, cadaver dogs tracked the terrain, and before long, the FBI joined the investigation, bringing in additional resources. But even with that level of attention, solid leads were hard to come by. The last person to see Alexis alive, her children's father, T.J. Patterson, was questioned extensively. Detectives looked closely at his account of the night at the 7-Eleven. They examined his phone records. They searched for inconsistencies. In the end, investigators publicly stated that T.J. was not considered a suspect. He had been cleared. Forensic teams returned to Alexis's car. No signs of a struggle were found inside the vehicle. No fingerprints pointing to someone else. No DNA evidence that told investigators who had been driving it after Alexis disappeared. Then came the digital search. Alexis's phone, her banking activity, her social media accounts all went silent after January 30th. Not a single message, not a single withdrawal, not even the smallest digital footprint. It was as if Alexis Ware had simply vanished into thin air. Every time a case like this goes cold, it's because too many people look away. Don't be one of them. Subscribe to True Crime 911. Be part of the community that refuses to let victims be forgotten. Despite the exhaustive searches, despite the technology, despite the manpower, no trace of Alexis was ever found, and the investigation was left standing at a crossroads. With the investigation stalled, theories began to circulate. Each one tried to explain how a 29-year-old mother of two could vanish so completely. Some believed Alexis may have chosen to disappear. She had spoken about stress, about people following her, and even told her mother she might not live to see her 30th birthday. Could she have staged her own escape from a life that felt unsafe? Others pointed to the possibility of a mental health crisis. Friends recalled her growing paranoia in the weeks before she vanished. The sudden acceleration past TJ's car afterward, the erratic movements of her vehicle. Were they signs of fear or of confusion? And then there was the most unsettling theory of all: abduction. If Alexis was right about being followed, if someone really had been watching her, then her disappearance may not have been by choice at all. The abandoned car, her belongings left behind, the bonnet outside, they all suggested a scenario where Alexis never had the chance to leave on her own. For investigators, none of these theories could be confirmed. For her family, each one carried its own kind of heartbreak. More than a year later, Alexis's family still doesn't know if she's alive or dead. In the months that followed Alexis Ware's disappearance, her family refused to let her name fade. Billboards were raised across South Carolina and Georgia, bearing her face and the number to call with tips. Vigils were held, candles lit in her honor, prayers whispered into the night. A reward fund was established, urging anyone with knowledge to step forward. Yet despite these efforts, no breakthrough came. No arrests, no confirmed sightings, no closure. For many who have followed this case, the silence surrounding Alexis's disappearance highlights a painful truth. Missing Black women in America often receive far less national coverage than their white counterparts. Families are left to fight twice as hard, not only for answers, but for attention. Alexis's loved ones believe that if her story had been given the same weight, the same urgency, perhaps answers might already exist. Instead, they are left with questions that cut deeper with every passing day. Why do you think Alexis's case remains unsolved? Was it a stranger who crossed her path that night, or someone closer than anyone suspects? Alexis Ware was more than a headline. She was a daughter, a sister, and a mother of 2 children who still ask when their mom is coming home. She had dreams, plans, and a future she feared she might not never see. Today, those fears echo louder than ever. Her family is left to carry her memory in photographs, in stories, and in the hope that someone, somewhere, will finally break the silence. The investigation remains open. No arrests have been made, no trace of Alexis has been found, and the trail that began at a 7-Eleven in Anderson, South Carolina, has grown cold. But one fact is undeniable. Someone knows what happened that night. The question is, will they ever come forward? And if you thought Alexis's story was haunting, wait until you hear the chilling case we're covering tomorrow, one that proves the truth can be even stranger than fiction. This video took me countless hours to create, hours I'll never get back, but I give them because Alexis Ware's family deserves to be heard. If you believe her story deserves to live on, support this channel with one simple click. And if you can't, then head to the comments and tell us why her story and the stories of victims like her don't deserve your voice.